Good morning, boys and girls. Buckle and Squash, The Perilous Princess Plot by Sarah Courtauld. Chapter 3 again, in which Mortimer will probably still be snoring. I wouldn't bother reading it if I were you. Violet, Violetta, breakfast time, Violi. Inside the castle, Mortimer was now awake. In fact, he was more than awake. He was up and skipping like a slightly evil hare through his bedroom, down the stairs, and into the kitchen. He had cake in his stomach, curls in his mustache, and joy in his heart. Today is going to be a wonderful day, he thought to himself as he flung open the kitchen window and looked out at the moat. Breakfast, he roared as he flung his dragon's breakfast. 2 Scotch eggs, 1 Welsh egg, 4 pieces of ham, and 3 used handkerchiefs out through the window and into the moat. Violet didn't stir. Used handkerchiefs were among her favorite snacks, but she wasn't in a rush to collect her breakfast. She didn't usually listen too hard to what Mortimer had to say, which wasn't surprising since she was at least 6 times taller than him and 34,567 years older, infinitely more intelligent, and didn't particularly appreciate being called Violi. No Violi this morning, Mortimer muttered to himself as he stared down at the still surface of the water, slightly disappointed. And none of the little Violettas either. Mortimer sighed. Nothing in the world cheered him up as much as the sight of Violet's teeth. He cherished all the sweet things she did for him, like that enormous birthday cake that she'd set fire to and turned into a pile of ashes. His heart was cheered by the sight of some of her many dragon children tearing around the moat and playing games like hide and seek and gobble and crunch. He decided to go outside to see if Violet or the rest of her brood would wake up if he chucked enough stones into the water, but as he got to the front door, he stopped short. His eyes boggled. He gasped because the letterbox was stuffed with his least favorite objects in the whole wide world. Bills. Bonnet! He shrieked. Bonnet! 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 Mortimer was pale and quivering like a jelly in an earthquake, with a magnitude of at least 7 on the Richter scale by the time that Bonnet, his pudding-shaped servant, arrived panting at his side. What are these? Mortimer gasped, pointing at the bills with a quaking finger. They're bills, sire, said Bonnet, stooping to pick them up. As he did so, Mortimer snatched them out of his hands and started to open them. 100 pieces of silver for a stuffed owl? 400 pieces of silver for a pair of solid gold shoes? 600 pieces of silver for a pair of gold shoes for a stuffed owl? Bonnet, who has been spending all this money on this useless rubbish? Said Bonnet. He coughed. He never liked giving bad news. I suppose that would be you, sire. That's absurd, Mortimer said, glancing down at his feet and noticing for the first time that his shoes were remarkably heavy and looked, well, definitely quite goldy. He frowned. No doubt these are all necessities, and they shall be paid for. Fetch me the chest of silver from the east wing. Yeah, I can't, said Bonnet in a small voice. Can't? Said Mortimer. Can't? Well, the thing is, sire, you lost it. In a bet. Playing poker, sire. The entire chest of silver? Mortimer asked. No, sire. The east wing, sire, said Bonnet. Your friend Lord Tartiflette had it removed this morning. Oh, said Mortimer. I see. Mortimer paced around the room. He did dimly remember playing poker with his friend Lord Tartiflette. So there's no money left at all, said Mortimer, sadly slumping to the floor. Not exactly, sire, said Bonnet. Cake, sire? Bonnet held out a beautiful porcelain plate with a large slice of lemon cake on it. Mortimer nodded and mournfully stuffed it into his mouth. I'm a broken man, he said between mouthfuls. I'm as broken as this plate. He threw the plate across the room and smashed it against the wall. I don't suppose I won anything at the poker game, did I? Only that priceless Chinese plate, sire, said Bonnet. Mortimer sighed again. He had spent all his money. He had gambled away half his castle. He wasn't even eating his favorite kind of cake. Life had gone badly wrong, and it was time to do some clear thinking. I'm a man of simple pleasures, he said. All I ever wanted was a castle, my own pride of lions, a jeweled crown, a choir of elves singing me awake every morning, sainthood, the power to make gold, the best mustache in Europe, a jacuzzi, an elephant from the Indies, another one to be its friend, a singing giraffe, the power of invisibility, magical cheese powers, a tiger with the feet of lamb, the head of a lamb, and the body of a lamb, basically a lamb, power over the sea, power over the letter C. Dear reader, this is just a note to say, I cut the next 4,235 things of Mortimer's simple pleasures because really they weren't that necessary or simple, and because I like to save paper where I can. Love, Sidney the Tree. A meringue that speaks Japanese, Mortimer said finally. Is that really too much to ask? Yes. No. Gorilla trousers. What? Bonnet spluttered as he woke up from a small nap. It is clear that I must do a terrible thing, said Mortimer. A look of pain crossed his face, turned left at his ear, left again, and then crossed back over his face. I'm going to have to take you to the market and sell you as a slave. What? Said Bonnet. Oh, I know what you're thinking, Mortimer sighed. How will I cope? Who will make my breakfast cake? Who will sing the loveliest sheep to me when I can't sleep? But don't think of me. I'll just have to get by without you. And Mortimer strode off to brood on the difficulties of his life. Mortimer was fond of brooding. He knew how handsome it made him look. Unfortunately, as he brooded his way through the hallway, he tripped over a scroll, crashed into a lamp, fell over his own feet, and landed sprawled on the floor like a spider, with his nose pressed into the morning's copy of the Squirb Times. Inside it was the solution to all his problems. Yo! Mortimer shrieked as he read the front page. Bonnet, that's it! Look! He jumped up, bolted back into the kitchen, and thrust the paper into Bonnet's face. Look! Read! Look! So Bonnet read out the headlines. The Black Death. Not as much fun as we thought. Women. They're just wrong. Last tonsure styles for springs. No, not that. This, said Mortimer. He snatched the paper back and read, Princess Esmeralda of Leblinsk, kidnapped by notorious villain Deadly Oswald, who was returned to her family last night after a ransom of 1,000 silver pieces was paid to the deadly criminal. That's it, Mortimer said as he danced a little jig. Don't you see, Bonnet? Don't you see? One princess equals 1,000 silver pieces. I don't need to sell you. Besides, how much would you really have fetched anyways? I mean, look at you, the smallest giant in the kingdom. What are you worth really? A bag of flour? Half a cabbage? A small glass of milk? Thank you for not selling me, said Bonnet. Oh, Bonnet, I really wasn't going to sell you. You're basically worthless. All you need to do now is find a princess and kidnap her. Snap her up, then bingo! Bob's your uncle. But Bob's not my uncle, Bonnet whispered as Mortimer danced around him. The ransom will be ours, that is, mine, and then all my troubles will vanish, just like that ridiculous owl. And walking over to the windowsill, he picked up a large stuffed owl, which was wearing a pair of golden shoes, and kicked it out the window. Kersplash! Present for you, Violet, Mortimer shouted out the window, although Violet did not reply. But how are you going to kidnap a princess? Asked Bonnet. Ha! Mortimer laughed. I'm not. That would be incredibly hard work and really far too dangerous. No, you are. I am, said Bonnet. Yes. Not alone, of course. Alone, you can kidnap your own eyebrows. No, you will just have to find the princess, but you'll need someone's help to catch her, someone big and strong. Please don't say Clive, please don't say Clive, please don't say Clive, thought Bonnet. Of all the things in life Bonnet was scared of, and there were exactly 87,564 things at his last count, the thing at the top of the list was Clive, said Mortemont. And tomorrow I will read chapter 4, in which Gertrude dreams of parsnips. Have a good night.